Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome back to Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. Ready, set, dive, yeah! So, final world of the game, and it is the world that never was. Oh yes indeedy, we've been to the end of the world. We know that the world ends with you, but have you ever been to the world that never was? Well, you would have done if you watched the Kingdom Hearts 2 commentary, like you should. Otherwise, you'll have absolutely no idea how our characters got here, or really what the hell is going on. Well, I mean, there is a chronicle you can technically read in the game, but it's neither here nor there in this case. Anyway, this is a harder question mark version of the boss fight we fought back in Country of the Musketeers with a Queen Waspinator 5000. Whatever, it's basically the same sort of thing. Hit it a few times and go, gotta run away, defeat more enemies. Bada bing, you do the thing, and I will say I do quite like this dive sequence. I think it's only really made a little bit more dynamic because of the esoteric nature of the world that never was, you know, flinging buildings at you as you dive down skyscrapers. I don't know, it brings to mind a lot of memories of the secret movie of Kingdom Hearts 1. Well, I mean, granted, a little bit more, with a little bit, well, more/less visual flair. More visual flair and the fact that you're diving through a bizarre, you know, dream sequence, but a little bit less so in that we don't have sexy Squaresoft CGI, which, well, I mean, let's just say, as Dream Drop Distance being an ode to the PlayStation 2 era, well, let's just say Kingdom Hearts will deliver damn close visuals to, you know, the secret movie of Kingdom Hearts 1. I mean, you know, sexy Square Enix 2002 CGI, I mean, I don't think... Well, at least by Kingdom Hearts 3, I don't think they were quite there yet, but by Kingdom Hearts 4, holy shit, man, we are getting fucking close to, you know, pinpoint graphical fidelity, although, I mean, to be honest, by the time it gets to that stage, shouldn't we be focusing more on, you know, performance, processing power, you know, what we can do with the technology and advantages given to us, you know, that kind of thing. Probably ease up on the budget a little bit there. Which, at this day and age, Square Enix kind of need, but, I stay my tongue.
Wait, isn't this... Is the organization's world sleeping too? No, it can't be. I know I definitely found the 7 keyholes already. So I've got to be awake again, and in the real world. But why here?
Aw, what's the matter, sleepyhead?
Who's there? Show yourself!
We jumped through a lot of hoops to get you here. But it looks as if it's gonna pay off.
You're part of this?
Hey, let's hit these plot points in order. Sora, Roxas. First, you must be wondering about your revised itinerary. Why am I here, not back home? The answer's simple. We brought you to this place, hijacked your little slumber party before it started, and ever since we've been both your companions and your constant guides.
Before it started? The man in the robe! And so that guy in the black coat! And Xemnas!
Bingo! You were able to go back in time to just before your home became a sleeping world, only because a past version of you already existed there. And I can see, in the past, you already met Mr. Robe Guy. Yep, he was there then to make sure you ended up here now.
That's ridiculous!
It sure is. It's too perfect. Who'd ever believe it? Which is why you idiots never saw it coming. You thought you were off doing some kind of test, right? We'll test this. How come you're wearing the same clothes if you're already back home? You are not gonna wake up, okay? Look, there's no real versus dreams anymore. There's just you, us, and this.
I see. Fair enough. So what? At least I know who to blame for it.
Ooh. I see you still got that angry look down. But here is where I tag out. I got just a few more hoops I gotta jump through.
Huh?
Come with me.
What?
Pleasant dreams, kiddo.
Yes. This was where it started. At this point, I still had no idea that I was talking to myself. He cast away his bodily form just to set me on the appointed path.
What do you mean?
That is Xehanort, reduced to just a heart. The being you and your friends called Ansem.
Whoa! Him. Is that?
Yes. The point in time that Xigbar mentioned.
Me. Right before my world was swallowed by the darkness.
To move through time, you must leave your body behind. Ansem first sent me on my way, and then placed himself here when the time was right. That is what set all these events in motion.
What are you saying? That he knew everything that would happen?
No, not everything. But remember, Ansem possessed Riku and saw his experiences in real time.
So? That could only tell him so much. How did he know I would be here today?
Simple.
Kairi! No! Ah! What is...
You've been here many times. Your first journey, your voyage through memories, in the datascape, in your dreams, relived again and again, like deja vu.
King Mickey? Oh. Donald! Goofy! Pluto!
Jesus fucking Louises, that was a buttload of cutscenes and, Sora's gonna sleep now. But, this isn't the last time we're gonna be playing as Sora. You can switch back to him if you want and do a little bit more in the world that never was, but... yeah, we've got a lot to unpack, and, I think it's best apropos if we do it by the time, Riku finally makes it into the world that never was, so... oh man, here we go again. Ready, set, dive! Yeah! Just had to get one more in there. I swear to God, but whereas Sora had the building segment, Riku now has, well, the realm of nothingness. And again, if you'll remember your Kingdom Hearts 2, topography? I believe that's the right turn of phrase. Yeah, basically, this was the realm of nothingness where Ansem the Wise was trapped, and he nearly would have died if he didn't succumb to darkness and became, well, Diz. That racist, abusive asshole to Naminé, and, the guy who was pretty much manipulating Riku under his thumb. But, as we learned in Birth by Sleep for the secret ending, yes indeedy, this regretful old man is very much still alive, and, well, let's just say he'll play a role in the events to come. What do I mean by that? Ooh, you'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, putting all that aside though, yeah, Riku, you'll begin to see how his role ties into things, and keep in mind what Joshua said back in Traverse Town on our second visit. Namely in the sense that, well, yeah, Sora's world and Riku's world differ significantly. Sora, in fact, isn't in the dream world, but Riku, on the other hand, seems to be experiencing a dream world of sorts. Oh, man, I'm turning into just as much of a fucking mythological guy as Kingdom Hearts itself, it's weird.
Where am I now? Why am I here? I unlocked all 7 keyholes, so I should be back in the world I came from.
Well, I mean, I say mythological guy, but I mean, more distinctly, talking in esoteric riddles and trying to keep secrets when I really shouldn't. Man, you play this series enough and eventually you just turn into a giant purple elephant with a silly hat. Yeah, by the way, Reap Elephant is actually meant to be a Dream Eater based on Beat from The World Ends With You. Including a bit of a spoiler actually, which I already mentioned, where Beat eventually becomes one of the Reapers. Which he does in order to get Rhyme's soul back. So yeah, quite grim. But in any case, so, yeah, that's where the whole Dream Drop Distance meme of an elephant on a skateboard comes from, in case you were wondering, so... yeah, it's neither here nor there in this case, but anyway. We got a long, lengthy dungeon worth of commu to do, as you can see with that elephant on a skateboard, which is fucking amazing. Sadly, no, I won't be keeping, you know, Beat Elephant in the room for very long, because he is an elephant in the room, after all. But yeah, this is our reality shift. Strike at the trains, you only get 3 strikes, and you're out. And if you failed 3 times, well, you gotta do it again, but if you do it correctly, then you get the Keyblade, Gayblade, where Sora and Riku pretty much just slash about, get some delicious stuff. And as you can no doubt tell, it's also required for puzzles, so while we let Beat Elephant do his thing, because that power shits on you, well, we've got some plot points to dissect, and you know, I'll get into the criticisms a little bit later, but I just want to lay it out thick and fast what's going on in layman's terms for everything that's just been info dumped right at the end of the game. First of all, time travel, brought up by Mickey and Yensid in, you know, the previous part, then later brought up with both Xigbar and, well, I think I can finally reveal who he is, young Xehanort. Yes indeed, that kid that's been following us around like a snooty little bitch is in fact Xehanort in his younger years, so before he developed the gruffy, "Yes, boy!" he was in fact just the, "Oh yes, this work is so easy. I'm literally better than you, I'm a smug bitch." Anyway, how time travel works, in very simplistic layman's terms, and you know what, I will give Kingdom Hearts credit, it is you know, some very airtight rules for time travel that, again, are followed as far as, well, the current games are concerned. So, they do have time travel rules, they do stick to them. So, how it works. Basically, you can't travel before or after you died. You need to have a version of yourself existing at that point, so you can't travel back before you were born, so I guess I'll use my date of birth as an example. Like, so, say me, I couldn't travel prior to 1997, nor could I transport to, I don't know, for the sake of argument, assuming that things go pear-shaped, I wouldn't live past, say, 2025. So again, if I died in 2025, I couldn't travel further beyond that. However, Xehanort, being a bit of a sneaky bastard, found a way around that. Namely, by transporting his heart into different vessels. This was part of the reason why he ended up possessing Terra, because, as you remember in the Xehanort reports, he couldn't live, you know, beyond his 90 years of life. Well, I think it was 80 years by birth by sleep, but yeah, by Kingdom Hearts 3, he's pretty much in his 90s right now, and he's pretty fucking spry for an old fucker, but anyway, basically, he's bodyjacking characters like Terra and Riku in order to have versions of themselves exist in the present, and, well, let's just say that a certain number added to Xehanort's rank, so to speak, because you did see 13 vessels appear before Xigbar. Well, yeah, let's just say he's going to be getting a lot of usage out of that. But anyway, because of the fact that Xehanort's heart technically has a vessel waiting for him, therefore he can travel to the present and, well, let's just say that he has a particular interest in Sora. After all, let's say, much like the Yu-Gi-Oh card Brain Control, yeah, Xehanort's taken a bit of an interest and, well, much in the same vein as Terra's ass, let's just say Xehanort has grown jealous of Riku and going, "Oh yes, I can see why Riku was so interested in your ass, boy. I think I might have to take an interest myself." And for those of you wondering, yes, Leonard Nimoy is in the game, so my Xehanort voice is very apropos as I continue to do the old man, "Yes, boy." Okay, all that aside though, by the way, yeah, this is Beat Elephant's thing. It's pretty much the same air surfing dude as what, you know, one of the Kiru Dream Eaters gave you. Okay, so, young Xehanort, in the flesh. Yeah, on top of having, like, several other versions of Xehanort, part of the reason why he's included is, well, in part it's because they wanted to develop how Xehanort was as a villain. A lot of this does also go into Kingdom Hearts 3 and in turn, you know, Dark Road, which really does go the whole hog in developing Xehanort's motivations in a way that they weren't really able to be developed in Birth by Sleep. In the sense that all you really got from Xehanort was that he was either an evil old dude who used to be friends with Eriquus and then turned to evil. And, yeah, with Dream Drop Distance, you kind of see him as a bit of a snotty know-it-all, and he is. But the difference being is that, well, yeah, let's just say that somebody prodded Xehanort towards this life, and, yeah, I mean, apart from the fact that we saw that, you know, Ansem, Seeker of Darkness was the one who prodded him towards it, there is a bit more to his story that does actually tie into the next story arc, and while I will say that the Dark Seeker saga, you know, as in the games from Kingdom Hearts 1 to 3, are very much a self-contained story arc akin to an anime, so to speak, where things do begin to diverge slightly is, well, primarily in Xehanort's plans, and again, I am going to start to get into criticisms here. When it comes to setting up Xehanort as the ultimate big bad, again, he wasn't in Kingdom Hearts 1, Xemnas was established as his own thing in Kingdom Hearts 2, then came Birth by Sleep attempting to have, you know, its own villain and attempting to sort of set him up as the ultimate big bad. Dream Drop Distance, on the other hand, furthers that, and for a lot of people, this is where it ended up being the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of Kingdom Hearts' convoluted plotting. Primarily in the sense that, you know, oh, no way, this was actually the setup for an even bigger villain that some franchises and series like to do to justify, you know, why their additional characters are somehow more important than everyone that's come before in an attempt to raise the stakes. Again, I feel like I am decidedly split on this, because on the one hand, I do like Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, and Xemnas as villains as they were before. I felt like they worked incredibly well even without Xehanort's whole thing from Birth by Sleep. And I don't mind the justification for what they've given us, but it does come across as very convoluted, and unless of course you're, you know, predisposed to liking stories of this nature, you're gonna find yourself, well, I mean, I can't really put this nicely, you're gonna find yourself either getting pissed off at just how convoluted everything is to wrap up, or again, you're gonna lose yourself in the minutiae of details, which gets into my second point, how the information is relayed in Dream Drop Distance, and it is a flaw shared by Birth by Sleep. And, you know, arguably it's equally as bad, if not slightly worse, in the sense that they divulge a lot of the information of the story right towards the end of the game, because for a majority of the game, it's basically Sora and Riku having fun-filled adventures in Dreamland with young Xehanort showing up going, "I'm a mysterious character, be careful, Sora, because we're coming after you." And that's pretty much it, up until they completely info-dump you at the last stretch of the game, which is... it's incredibly poorly paced, and to that effect, it also makes it feel kind of more like a middle episode than in fact it needs to be. I mean, a lot of what Dream Drop Distance is, as I mentioned earlier, is set up for Kingdom Hearts 3, but it also means that as a result of that, it sets up a lot of plot points that don't get a lot of resolution, so... one of the biggest issues of that is that it can come across as a glorified, "Oh, buy Kingdom Hearts 3, because it's gonna be great." And, that's... you know, that's, part of the reason why I feel like a lot of people were, you know, becoming gradually more and more irritated with the lack of Kingdom Hearts 3 that we'd gotten at this stage. And even in that case, moreover, the fact that we were just getting... you know, to what the fanbase saw as just gimmicky side gamers, "Oh look, it's the Dream Eaters, let's do a Digiman thing with the creatures and the cutesiness and the plushies that we can sell in Japan." So yeah, I mean... As I mentioned beforehand, I do like Dream Drop Distance, but it's got issues, and it's not enough to turn me away from the game entirely, but I mean, even I have to admit that, you know, front-loading all of this in terms of the viewership, you know, and especially the audience who were playing the game at the time, it's... I will concede that they were starting to dole these collections out, you know, in terms of, you know... because, I mean, the Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 HD remixes were already released by this point, so... you know, they were making the collections easier to play for people to absorb the story, but the thing of it is that there was a lot of story to absorb. And, you know, in terms of getting the audience to absorb all of it before Kingdom Hearts 3 was, you know, it's a bit of a Brobdingnagian task, and that's primarily down to the fact that they had so much backstory to cram in, just for the sake of making, you know, Old Man Xehanort the main villain, which... again, as the story plays out, I mean, I do think it does make a lot of sense. I do think it's fine the way in which they set it up. The problem is that it's just poorly paced, and it just also feels like trying to slap a band-aid and trying to make it more grandiose than it actually would be, so... I guess maybe if you had Xehanort exist in Sora's time, perhaps, as like an old Keyblade Master rejected or something... actually, no, scrap that thought. I mean, I thought maybe I had a solution to it by maybe setting the whole birth by sleep thing in the sort of present, but that wouldn't really work given the character arc, so... I guess I can sort of see why Nomura necessitated the need for a prequel. Well, I mean, either that and he was busy watching Revenge of the Sith that evening and thought, prequels! Yes, I must do it now. More creepy old men, more angsty teenagers, more trade negotiations. But yeah, facetiousness aside, it's not a smooth union, and, well, yeah, kinda much like Faraga Burst, it goes all over the place. Anyway, rant over, then I'll get into more details as they come up, but in the meantime though, yeah, our two Dream Eaters. We still have Vamp, still putting the work in, and we also have the second Justaboki variant, Dinner Is You, which you can acquire from Symphony of Sorcery, from Riku's variant. One of my favorite Dream Eaters, actually. It's quite cool. Has very similar abilities, but I don't know. It looks quite creepy in the fact that it has a knife and a fork, you know, sticking out. It's a pretty goofy design, but at the same time, kind of like the ghost from Sonic Adventure 2, actually, in the Pyramid Cave. It has like this really like half cartoony, half creepy design about it. Like, I mean, it's less. I'd say it's less cartoonish than what you would see from like the Boos and Mario, but. I don't know, it hits that range between being kind of adorable and funny, but also legitimately creepy, so... Yes, indeed, hence why I named the Ghostaboki Dinner Is You. So anyway, that's pretty much all she wrote. Use your reality shift, and this is what happened when you fail. Oh, nothing happens. Yeah, by the way, that shiny disco ball will, on the odd occasion, actually shoot out some little... drones to blast out a little pew pew. I shoot my laser at you, laser. That's pretty much it. And to kind of talk about the level design while we still have it, the interior areas of the world ends with you. No, because that power shits on you. No, the interior areas of well, you know, the castle from the world that never was. Yeah, design-wise, it still maintains that same sterile, almost machine-like construction that we saw in Kingdom Hearts 2. And in terms of actual gameplay and level design, it maintains a very... I'd say quite possibly the most dungeon design that a Kingdom Hearts game has ever really seen. At least in terms of a sort of traditional Final Fantasy sense, in, you know, the fact that you're solving puzzles, making your way towards certain areas, and, you know, eventually making your way towards the top of a tower to confront a boss fight that we'll be dealing with in the next part. It's quite cool like that. And anyway, all of it necessitates us taking down the shiny disco ball via the reality shift, using the Keyblade, Gayblade.
Oh my god, Mr. Solidus-Skully, cut the gay jokes, like, oh my god, it's so homophobic.
Except it isn't really, because I love Sora and Riku together. Again, I keep on saying it, I know I said it in jest, but I mean, this game does provide plenty of evidence to show that the boys do care for each other. And no matter how often they try and force Kairi into their dynamic, I would be willing to accept a threesome, but no more. It would spoil the gay. Yes. We can have we can have Sora and Riku give Kairi a bit of rumpy pumpy, but, you know, so long as I see my boys have a nice passionate kiss, I'll be sated. What the fuck is wrong with me? Nice ass. I can see why Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, wanted you, Riku. Okay, that's enough jokey jokes for one day. Now we've finally entered the exterior of the castle. By the way, I just want to point out, remember when Maleficent and Pete wanted to take over this castle for themselves? Yeah, well, I mean, I suppose the whole stuff from Coded and, you know, the fact that they wanted to acquire the date escape, you know, in an earlier cutscene of the game, was there to sort of imply that, so, yeah, plans change and... Well, without spoiling anything from future storylines, let's just say it contains a little black box. Yes, that's right. Maleficent and Pete are looking for survivors of a plane crash to rescue them, bring them back safely, and... Oh god, I nearly made a very, very, very horrible joke right there. About recent missing flights. Jesus Christ. What the fuck is wrong with my commentary? I'm getting more... I swear to god, I'm getting more politically incorrect every year with my jokes, and it's slightly concerning, but it's also strangely liberating. I blame my dad, because he says shit like that all the time, and, I mean, I laugh, but I know that I shouldn't. Well, he was a lad of the 60s, I can forgive him. Sort of. Kind of. Acquished. Anyway, as we traverse slow motion across these pipes of indeterminate nature, we finally make our way to the top of the tower, and get hurt by these dark eco lasers. Oh, those lasers have turned into hurting you. Yeah, apart from that though, not really too much to say. I will say that I actually quite like the theme we have for The World That Never Was in this realm. It doesn't quite top the one from Kingdom Hearts 2 in my eyes, but it does capture a very melancholy feeling that things have gone a bit topsy-turvy, and in turn, I guess the sort of struggle that Riku and Sora have been facing throughout the entire game, really, and... Well, that does kind of bring me into a bit of a third criticism, since we have more things to talk about. Yeah, Sora's role in the whole thing. I mentioned earlier on that this was intended to be a Riku-centric game, with him as the main protagonist, and while I don't doubt that Sora was intended to be a part of the game's story, I do you can also sort of see where the game sort of bloats a lot of its excess here, and where a lot of the aspects which Riku would have covered as full-out levels has also sort of been split up, mashed apart, and, you know, don't really come across as full and complete levels just to accommodate for Sora, which... I will say that I think it probably would have cut down some of the bloat in terms of some of the cutscenes we have, you know, by having all the exposition handled by, you know, Riku's experiences, leaving Sora's stuff towards the end of the game. And, you know, I guess maybe then they could have dispersed, like, a lot of the information a little bit more evenly, rather than having, you know, to accommodate for both stories. So, oh no, Riku has to learn about Dream Eater, so now Sora has to learn about it too. Because fuck it, why not? Which... You know, to me, cut out a lot of Sora stuff, then you would have had space for not only all the development that Riku has already gone through throughout the entire game, you know, learning from characters in the Disney worlds and having more of interplay between, you know, Ansem and young Xehanort. But in turn, you also would have had more space, I feel, to better pace out a lot of the exposition that they're dumping. I don't know. I feel like it also would have played a little bit better towards the whole Dream Realm capabilities thing, which, Again, as we know now, you know, Sora not actually being in the dream, but instead a facsimile created by, well, old Xehanort and his cronies. So yeah. That isn't to say that Sora hasn't entirely been visiting the Dream Realm, it's just that he hasn't been on the test that Yensid set out for him. Again, Yensid can't track him, but he can track Riku. Part of the reason for why that is? Well, you'll see in the next boss fight, actually, because it directly points it out, but, you know, for one last final hint, take a look at Riku's back and notice if you see any similarities. Similarities between him and, well, let's just say Vamp, for instance. The symbol is the clue. But regardless of such, though, yeah. I really don't have too much to say. Oh my god, they can use Sparka! That's Sora's ability! You thief! By the way, Sparka never comes back ever again. Kind of a shame, actually. I mean, it was a okay ability. I am curious, though, does it ever get used in any Final Fantasy games, or is this, exclusively Kingdom Hearts? Well, I mean, I guess every franchise gets one, I suppose. I mean, you never get to use Ultima or, well, actually, no, I tell a lie, you do, well, you do see Ultima and, actually do get to use Holy via Mickey stealing in Birth by Sleep, so, yeah, interesting. Scratch that thought. You get to use Mega Flare. You actually get to see a really cool variant of, the Flare spell in Kingdom Hearts 3, which, ooh, I'm gonna be excited when we get to that one. That's also made me, it's probably been a little bit daunting, actually. We're actually getting so close to Kingdom Hearts 3. I mean, I'm not gonna tackle it immediately after Dream Drop Distance, because, you know, I don't think I could handle another dive sequence. My throat, my poor throat. But, yeah, all that aside, though, it's, the end is in sight. And I suppose, so I can talk about it now, I'm kinda tempted to go hell for leather and just, try and get all these finished tonight. I mean, at the very least, I mean, if not, you know, if not the entire game, then at the very least, you know, finishing off, the world that never was. Because, we do still have some ending, spoilery, final boss fighty things to do. It's, you know, it might be something that I'll tackle tomorrow, but if not, then, I don't know, I'm fairly confident that I can tackle it, because, I mean, there are still fuckloads of cutscenes that can give my voice a bit of a break, and, yeah, I might be able to do it. I don't know. I mean, I am feeling a little bit more pepped up than I was a while ago, back when I recorded the 4th part, where I was like, 5 today. Well, it turned out to be 6. So, yeah, who knows, really. I might go hell for leather and record everything and, you know, knock this out of the way, and then I can finally finish off the cancelled Silent Hill games video, which I've been putting off for quite some time, because scheduling things is indeed a bitch, and my time is limited. God, I now know how responsible people feel with jobs and money and the desire to abuse alcohol and the drugs and the weed that is a drug and the weed that is from the sea and can be used in cooking and actually having some very delicious meals. I mean, seriously, if you serve seaweed with the right dish, can actually be quite nice. Particularly with a lot of Japanese cooking, actually. I've made some udon noodles, which are quite good. Especially if you have the right sort of broth and stock, actually. But that's just me getting off topic for cooking tangents. Anyway, we've finally nearly ascended the no, Riku, it's the other way, you light-speed surfer dumbass. Oh, thank heavens, we're nearly there. That tower is our final destination. But will we reach it, or will we fail? Yeah, we pretty much bought some shit, drop me nuts, because
He drops me not. He drops me not. He drops me like me when I was a baby.
God, dead baby jokes. What the fuck happened to me, man? I've grown considerably more crazy and morbid as the years have gone on. Or have I, really? I mean, in Silent Hill 1, I did once say, fucking kids, we gotta shoot them down, so who knows? Maybe I haven't changed at all. Or maybe I've just gotten crazier due to lack of sleep. So anyway, next time on Dream Drop Distance, boss fights and cutscenes. Catching dudes and dudettes next time.